Welcome to Plus Sports, the show where we give a different perspective on sports as we look at the stories of athletes who not just amaze but also inspire. I'm Patricia Bermudez-Hizon. Here we will give you not just the latest in the sporting world, but also the stories behind the athletes' struggles, victories, and motivation. We go beyond the stats as we celebrate these great athletic feats with you. The world's greatest athletes continue to compete at the highest levels of sport on the 14th day now of the Olympics. So that's why we go straight to our take on Tokyo. While most of our country's Olympians have already competed in Tokyo, there are three more who are still in the hunt for Olympic medals, including one who has a clear shot at the gold. Boxer Carlo Paalam advanced to the men's flyweight final yesterday after a unanimous decision over Japan's Ryome Tanaka. He will square off against Great Britain's Galalia Faye in the gold medal match tomorrow afternoon. Looking at their matchup, Yafai is the more experienced fighter at 28 years old, while Paalam is competing in the Olympics for the first time. Yafai saw action in the 2016 Rio Olympics, but lost in the round of 16. Yafai has two older brothers who are also boxers and has won medals representing Great Britain in the European Games, European Championships, and the Commonwealth Games. Not to be outdone, Paalam has won a gold medal at 2019 Southeast Asian Games and a bronze at 2018 Asian Games. Paalam may be the less experienced fighter at just 23 years old, but he has shown in these Olympics that he is more than capable of defeating opponents who have previously competed in these games at this level. His victory in the quarterfinals over Uzbekistan's Shakubaidin Zoirov, a world champion and Olympic gold medalist, was certainly a morale booster for the Bukidnon native. With another decisive victory over Tanaka in the semifinals, he is heading into the final with all the momentum he needs. Yafai, on the other hand, narrowly defeated Kazakhstan's Saken Bibosinov in the other semis bout 3-2 to arrange a duel with Paalam. It will not be easy, but there's no doubt that with the gold in his sights, Paalam will do his best to get our second golden moment in these Olympics. Meanwhile, only two of our athletes competed in Tokyo in day 14 of the Games, but golfers Yuka Saso and Bianca Pagdanganan showed that they are capable of competing against the world's best. Saso, the reigning U.S. Women's Open champion, has found her groove, scoring a 4 under 67 to pull into a tie for 19th place. The 20-year-old Saso had 5 birdies and just 1 bogey in a strong third round after starting the day at the 34th spot. Pagdanganan, meanwhile, shot a 2 under par and finished the round tied for 29th spot, with other golfers still competing. Both golfers will finish their first Olympic stint when the final round of the tournament tees off tomorrow morning. With the Olympics already in day 14, let's take a look at our latest medal tally, with 2 countries in particular still locked in a tight race on top of the medal table. As of 12:30, China remains on top of the medal table with 34 gold medals and 74 total medals. The United States, meanwhile, is still running second with 30 golds and 92 medals overall. Host country Japan, meanwhile, sits at the 3rd spot with 22 gold medals and 46 total medals. Australia remains in 4th place with 17 golds and 42 in total, while the Russian Olympic Committee has climbed back up to the 5th spot with 16 golds and 58 total medals. Meanwhile, Great Britain, Germany, France, Italy, and the Netherlands complete the top 10 countries at the medal table, while the Philippines is in the 49th spot with 1 gold, 1 silver, and 1 bronze medal. We're hoping that Carlo Paalam and our golfers can add more to that, and they definitely will. We are joined by a very busy sports executive today who wears many hats. First, as the president of the Philippine Rowing Association and as vice president of ABAP, or Association of Boxing Alliances of the Philippines, and the vice president also of the MVP Sports Foundation. We're so happy to have with us Mr. Patrick Pato Gregorio. Thanks so much for joining us here on Plus Sports, Pato.
Thank you, Patricia, for the invitation. It's nice to see you again. Nice to hear your voice. And this is good news time for all of us.
Oh, absolutely. Of course, we want to congratulate not just ABAP, but of course the Philippine Rowing Association first for producing an Olympian, and of course being able to make it to the finals in the individual event is such a great feat for such a young athlete like Chris Nevares.
That's correct. 21 years old. If we give him all the training in the next few years, he'll be one of the top rowers in Asia, if not the world.
And we're
Yeah.
looking forward to that. Definitely, we're going to be keeping an eye out on this. But of course, we wanted to congratulate ABAP, the most successful NSA in these Olympics, with the number of medals that was produced. ABAP's leadership must be so encouraged and so proud, to say the least, of what the boxers have accomplished here so far.
Oh, definitely. But I'm sure Secjon Ed mentioned this to you already. But Patricia, and to our listeners, this is what, 3 Olympic cycles in the making. This did not happen 1 year ago or 2 years ago. We started Yumir when he was 15. We started with Nesty. She was very young. Carlo Paalam was very young. So we started, if I'm not mistaken, in London. That's 2012. So it's 3 Olympic cycles. So ito, the fruits of our labor and our dedication and the hard work.
Absolutely. Of course, we recognize that the NSA, through its current leadership, has worked long on rebuilding the organization and creating this great program for boxing that has delivered these wonderful boxers that you've mentioned and many more. Now, describe to us the amount of work outside the boxing ring that was put into this program that made these medals possible.
Well, you have to identify them in the grassroots level. We have coaches who really when we started this program with Mr. Vargas and Ed, we organized boxing tournaments all over the country, regional championships, and there we identified these young boxers. Uh, and like Carlo, I'm sure you've read about it. He was a scavenger in Cagayan de Oro, and one of the uh, guys who helped us identify Carlo is now the mayor of Cagayan de Oro, Oscar Moreno. I remember Mayor Moreno building a small boxing gym with an apartment for these young boys, and then we in Cagayan de Oro. I remember Yumir March when he won the World Junior Championships at the age of 15, 16. When we gave him a prize of 300,000 pesos, then the first thing he did was to use the money to at least have a cement flooring in their small house, in their shanty, because they were living in a shanty with soil, no cement. So same is true for all of them. Irish, Nesty, uh, they're in boxing because for like they know this already. It's a great equalizer, Patricia. You are successful, you get something as a reward, and improves the life of your family. And
Yeah.
yeah, ayan na siya. We can see it.
Now,
Actually, pahabol ko lang, same for Chris Nevares. Chris Nevares, we discovered him in Atimonan, Quezon, and he comes from a very poor family, and that they live beside the cemetery. But he's a sportsman. He knows that he has to excel in rowing. So ayan, Southeast Asian champion and the first Olympian in after 20 years.
really, truly amazing and inspiring stories. I wanted to zero in because you mentioned it already. Silver medalist Nessie Petesho, who also has an equally inspiring and amazing story from when she lived a humble life to being on that Olympic stage with a silver medal. But what did you see in her? And what are the unique traits that got her this far?
That's I really like that question because uh, I have noticed in my almost 15 years in this sports organization, from SBP to ABAP to rowing, and now with MVPSF helping so many athletes. They have the same traits. They have the same desire. They have the same winning attitude. When you talk to them, you already see the killer's instinct in their eyes. It's just like Manny Pacquiao when he was starting. the confidence that he will beat the opponent. They're all like that. When you talk to Nesty, when you talk to Carlo, when you talk to Yumir, even when you talk to Chris, the rower, they all have the same attitude. And this is the attitude that you cannot teach, right? It's got
Yes.
you have to have it. So we that is part, I guess, of the criteria when we identify these young athletes. Does this young man or woman have this winner's profile or winner's attitude and spirit?
Oh, I really love that. And
Yeah.
that's a great lesson for all of our viewers here. And we focus really on the stories behind it. And that really gives us a lot of insight. Now, I wanted to ask about Yumir Marshall's fight, which didn't go our way, but the bronze medal is still a great feat for Yumir. What was ABAP's message to him after his bout?
He told us, and I think he admitted that he lost gas, right? He was just tired entering the third round. If we dissect it, if we analyze it, he won the first round 3-2. He won the second round 3-2. So if maybe syempre laging ganyan. Hopeful if he had the change of strategy and maybe just boxed and weaved, then he could have gotten away with a win. But that's it. It's the Olympics. You have to prove that you are the champion. You have to prove that you are the gold medalist. And the opponent is the world and Olympic champion. He has not lost in 60 fights or 61 fights. He has not lost since 2016. So for Yumir to get a bronze medal on his first Olympic try is really already commendable. All of this, I guess, except for Hidilin, these are all first-time Olympians.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, absolutely. And that's why we continue to be amazed that the kind of support that the ABAP has been giving our boxers, because they're stepping on that ring as if they are seasoned boxers already on the Olympic stage.
That's correct.
And that's
That's
why we
correct.
go now to Carlo Paalam. What's his current mindset heading into tomorrow's bout for gold? And what do you think would be his keys to winning?
I think his style is perfect versus the boxer from Great Britain. I think it's perfect if you ask me. Meaning, uh, the boxer we saw the box. I don't know if you saw the fight of the guy from Great Britain versus Kazakhstan. I was actually personally I was more afraid to for Carlo to meet the Kazakh guy tomorrow. So when the guy from Great Britain won, I said, I think the style is perfect for Carlo's style, no? Not unless there's a change in strategy. But Carlo is an intelligent boxer. I think we've seen that in his last 4 fights. He's an intelligent boxer and he's very patient, no? Hindi in boxing what we usually say bara-bara, suntok lang ng suntok, right? But Carlo is methodical. Carlo has style. He reads the style of the opponent. That is why in his last 4 fights, he won what 5-0, 5-0, 5-0, 4-1 because of that style. So I am confident. I think the sports leaders are confident. But of course, Carlo has to deal with his, I guess, excitement and anxiety, and to just to go there and dictate the fight.
Well, that's definitely something to watch out for, and we'll be praying for Carlo. What now is your message for our other Pinoy boxers who also want to have that chance one day to fight for our country on that Olympic stage?
Uh, this is my message for the boxers and all the other athletes, the young athletes in the Philippines. Uh, Let me say that I think we've seen a different program as far as the Philippine Olympic Committee is concerned. We've seen a different approach as far as uh, coaching the athlete, training the athlete, feeding the athlete, the sports psychology part. Meaning, this is what we've been trying to do the last so many Olympic cycles, and I think that's the reason why we have so many medals this year because we were able to address the needs of all these athletes, especially the boxers. So uh, now that they're successful, now that we see the support of the Philippine Olympic Committee, the Philippine Sports Commission, the MVP Sports Foundation, all the sponsors, I think all the these young athletes will just say, "Let me try this sport, and I'll do well as well." Because one successful Olympic journey or competition will really change your life.
What a great message of encouragement for our athletes. Thank you for all the hard work that you have done, and for sports leaders like yourself who help our athletes and our country fulfill their sporting dreams. And that was once again Pato Gregorio, president of the Philippine Rowing Association and vice president of the MVP Sports Foundation and of ABAP. That wraps up our take on Tokyo. Even when the PBA Philippine Cups postponed games are happening, we will still talk about the amazing accomplishments and down to earth character of one of the country's best players today and a future legend of Philippine basketball. Now, we usually hear the term gentle giant as a way to describe tall athletes who may look intimidating but are actually anything but. And the term first San Miguel Beermen center Junmar Fajardo, it fits him just perfectly. We talk about Junmar's accomplishments on the court and his humility off it right here on Athlete's Feet. At just 31 years old, Fajardo's accomplishments in the PBA have already solidified him as one of the greatest to play in the league. He has 8 championships, 6 MVP awards, 8 Best Player of the Conference awards, while also having other awards as a member of Gilas Pilipinas. And yet, despite being the most decorated player in the league today, the 6'10" Fajardo remains humble and keeps himself focused on winning more championships instead of his individual awards. Fajardo is also known for preferring to live a simple lifestyle in his native Cebu whenever he gets a break from playing basketball, embracing life in the province and his humble roots. This is evident in all his social media posts and YouTube vlogs, which is, of course, showing his life in Pinangamunahan, Cebu during the off season. Now, Fajardo suffered an injury a year and a half ago, but was able to recover and is now back with the Beermen as they look to add to their championship collection. But even though Fajardo had a long road to recovery before he got back on the court, the one thing that hasn't changed is that he remains one of the country's best players and that he remains grounded. He's a grounded teammate and a grounded person off the court. And that's the story of San Miguel's Junmar Fajardo here on Athlete's Feet. For many athletes, the Olympics presents a chance to prove that they are the best in the world in their respective sports. But the road to the Olympics is filled with many obstacles and challenges, and sometimes just making it to the games already sends a strong message. This is the case for Indian fencer Bhavani Devi, who made history when she stepped into the Makuhari Messe and competed in the women's saber event. That's because when she did, Devi became the first Indian fencer to qualify and play in the Olympics. Here is Bhavani Devi's incredible story on women in sports. India sent a total of 124 athletes to the Tokyo Games, but Devi was the only fencer and the first one from India to reach the Olympics. Even if the sport isn't popular in her home country, Devi persevered and even set up a base in Italy where she had been training for more than a year before the Games. Now, even before she competed in Tokyo, the 27-year-old Devi has won tournaments around Asia, such as the Commonwealth Championships and the Asian Championships. According to interviews, her family, from her parents to her siblings, all contributed for her training expenses overseas and have sacrificed a lot for her Olympic dreams. And those dreams would pay off when Devi finally competed in Tokyo in the first week of the Games. But she wasn't just happy to be there because Devi actually won her first match in the round of 64 before losing in the round of 32. But even in defeat, she made history for India and made her family and country proud, with no less than Prime Minister Narendra Modi saying that Devi was an inspiration. Her story proves that if you have a dream and you're willing to work hard and have a group of people willing to support you, anything is possible and you can get there. And that is the inspiring story of Indian fencer Bhavani Devi here on Women in Sports. From fencing, we go to basketball. While the NBA is in its off season, free agency is now on day 4, and there have been more transactions around the league. Meanwhile, the Olympic men's basketball tournament is down to its last 2 teams with a gold medal up for grabs. Here's everything you need to know about basketball on Inbound. After a frenzy of deals and transactions at the start of free agency, things have started to slow down around the association with several big names now off the market. But while there have been surprising trades and signings, the larger theme is that of free agents choosing to remain with their former teams and signing long-term extensions with them. The latest one is New York Knicks big man Julius Randle, who reportedly signed a lucrative 4-year, $117 million deal to remain with the Knicks. Randle is coming off a breakout season for New York and helped them return to the playoffs after a long absence. Randle is the latest all-star player to return to his team and sign a massive extension, joining the likes of Steph Curry, who, according to reports, signed an extension with the Golden State Warriors, and Chris Paul, who will reportedly remain with the Phoenix Suns after helping them reach the NBA Finals. Meanwhile, back in Tokyo, the Olympic men's basketball tournament is down to its last 2 teams in the United States and France, who will battle for the gold medal tomorrow morning. The United States is looking to win their 4th straight gold medal and will be favored against France, especially with the way they've been playing recently. After opening their campaign in Tokyo with a loss, the United States have reeled in 4 straight wins and have blown out all of their opponents by an average of 30.5 points. Team USA is also shooting the ball well at 50.7%, including making 41% of their 3-pointers, while also averaging a tournament best 25.6 assists per contest. Kevin Durant has been leading the way for Team USA, averaging 19 points per game, while Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, Damian Lillard, and Devin Booker have also chipped in. But if there's a team that can pull off the upset against Team USA, it's France. After all, they already did it a week ago, defeating the US in the group stage 83-76 in their opening game. The French aren't scoring as much as the Americans, but they are also shooting and rebounding well and are also well stocked with NBA players, with New York Knicks guard Evan Fournier, who has been leading the way for France, while 3-time Defensive Player of the Year Rudy Gobert and Nicolas Batum have already been key to their run. Now, they needed a key block from Batum to narrowly defeat Luka Doncic and Slovenia in the semifinals, 90-89, and book a rematch with the United States. Now, if France defeats the US, it will be their first gold medal at the event. So, can France pull off the monumental upset, or will the United States continue to prove that they are the best country in basketball? We'll find out tomorrow when these teams battle on the court for gold. And that's what we've got for you from our Inbound. Still in the Olympics, the games in Tokyo are close to wrapping up, and it is now the 14th day of action, and it's really been amazing. It has been also amazing that 3 Filipinos are still in the running for a medal. It just shows how far our country's athletic program has come, and with our first-time Olympians already competing at their highest level of sports, they can only get better and move up from there. Some of them are already looking ahead to Paris Olympics in 2024, and we just can't wait to see them and support them all the way till they get to that stage. But for more sports stories here and abroad that not just inform but also inspire, make sure that you guys are always tuned in to Plus Sports every day on Plus Network. That's it for us here on Plus Sports. I'm Patricia Bermudez. He's on. Thanks for watching.